Hi guys, my name is Ashley Salvatori, and today I am talking to you about a beginner's guide for how to follow ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting. If you are just barely getting started into this lifestyle and you want to learn how to do it, what it is, and how it works, here it is. So I don't know if you guys caught my video. My husband and I, we lost a lot of weight following a ketogenic diet, low carb, high fat diet. After the birth of my 2 kids, and I'll pop that little card up here. You can check that out after this one's done. But I lost over 75 pounds and I'm feeling amazing, and it's all thanks to following a low carb lifestyle. And I'm gonna go through with you the beginner's guide on how to get started if you are just learning about this and you want to give this a shot to see if it can really change your life like it has for me and many other people. So welcome to my channel. This channel, I have tons of tips and tricks for you following the ketogenic diet, low carb, high fat, and intermittent fasting. So be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you are returning, welcome back. Okay guys, so let's talk about a beginner's guide. So there are many reasons as far as why you might want to get started on the ketogenic diet, but weight loss is one of the huge ones, and so a lot of people get going for that reason alone. So I'm gonna help you make this super simple for you so that you're not confused, because I know a lot of people are so confused when they first learn about this type of lifestyle, and it's really not as confusing as it seems. I know for me, when I first started learning about the ketogenic diet, I was so confused about macros, micros, what the heck they are, how you count them, all of that. It seems so confusing to me, as well as net carbs and all of that stuff. But to make this really easy for you guys, basically what it is when you're following a ketogenic lifestyle, which this is a lifestyle, so many people follow this type of way of eating forever. For me, I have adopted it into my lifestyle. I didn't lose all of this weight and then went back to eating junk. No, this became my life and I love it. I love how I feel when I eat ketogenic. If I fall off track, you know, every once in a while, yeah, it happens. I mean, I'm human. I go on vacation. Sometimes there isn't the type of foods that I need to eat. We lost power. We're here in the Northeast and we lost power, and you know, it is what it is. So I had to eat what I had to eat. But anyway, it happens. So that's life, and that's okay. And you're gonna find in your life too a way that works for you. But when you get going on this type of lifestyle, really you want to wrap your mindset around making this a true lifestyle. Not just a diet, not just something you start and plan to stop. This is something you can literally do forever, and you can do it easily in your lifestyle, and it's gonna make your life great, because you're gonna feel amazing on the ketogenic diet. So basically, keto means you are eating high fat, moderate protein, low carbohydrates. Now, if you have the standard American diet, you've probably been eating carbs like forever, and you've been told you need to eat low fat, you need to eat low calorie, you need to eat all the foods that you're eating in carbs and protein. And so your diet might be full of a lot of carbs, cereals, things you think are healthy. But I'm here to tell you, those types of foods are they're not good. Like, I feel like we were lied to forever, because this is like a huge thing, this whole shift, and you have to shift your mindset around that too, because I know a lot of people get started and they're so afraid to start eating fat. It's so scary because you're told, eat fat, it will make you fat, right? And you believe it. But the complete opposite is true. If you feed your body fat and your body starts running on fat as its primary fuel source, you know what happens? Your body is burning fat for fuel. It burns your body fat when it runs out of the foods, the fat that you're eating. And there is no way that you can eat enough fat in your day to run your body. Your body, like, you would be, I mean, I can't even imagine, you would be eating so much fat, it would be ridiculous, and that's not even possible. So that's where the ketogenic diet works, because people get full on less, because the food is satisfying. You're never hungry, you're never deprived, you don't go without, eating unless you aren't hungry, and so you don't eat. And that's the other thing. You can actually follow your body's lead and start learning when you're actually hungry, or if you're eating for other reasons like stress eating, or just eating because you're bored, or a lot of those other things. You're gonna find with the keto diet, when you get going on that, you're not going to have the same reaction to eating, or at least you're gonna learn to eat when you're hungry, because you're gonna find you'll be more in touch with your body, and that's amazing. Okay, so how do you do it? How do you do the keto diet? This is what I recommend. If you're just getting started into this, I don't recommend that you get going tracking your macros right away. And there's a reason for that. The main reason is because you don't want to get overwhelmed, and it can be super overwhelming when you first start getting going into this and learning about things and trying to do it all at once. And then if it's too overwhelming, you're going to give up. And you can get great results doing it the way that I recommend, which is just start with your net carbs. Try to eat 20 net carbs or less a day, and you're going to have some serious shifts happening. You're going to get into ketosis, that is when your body is burning fat for fuel. It's producing this BHB, which is causing your body to be running on fat as fuel. It's like the byproduct when your body's burning fat for fuel. So it's going to, you're gonna feel great, but initially you might have the keto flu, which is normal, totally common. When you cut out all that sugar, you cut out all the carbohydrates. So we're talking about no more breads, no more cereals, no more pastas. These things are not good. And you think like, what will I eat if I'm not eating those things? I'm telling you, you're gonna be eating green leafy veggies. You're gonna be eating fresh meats, cheeses, olives. These are the things that you want in your diet. You want your diet rich in foods that are really good for you. And so you're not gonna be eating as much packaged foods, you're gonna be eating more real foods. So that is one of the reasons why the ketogenic diet is so amazing for your health, because the foods that you're eating is gonna be loaded with much more nutrition and nutrients than a lot of these bread, pastas. You're getting a lot of calories, but you're not really feeding your body. So you're gonna be getting a lot more here. Now, the question is, all right, so if you're eating more meats, no sugars, which sugars we're talking about, fruits as well. Now you can eat low carb, low glycemic fruits, which would be on the berries. The berries are okay, like strawberries, blackberries. Those are okay, but you want to count them and make sure that you're staying within your daily net carb ratio. Now, once you get that initial loss, you start doing great and you're feeling good and you feel like you want to start balancing your macros, you totally can do that at any time. And so to balance your macros, I recommend you pick up an app. I really like the Carb Manager app. That's the one I use. Get that app, start entering in the foods that you're eating and find out what your macro balance is. It will show you a little pie chart. It will split them up and it will give you a percentage of fat, which these are the macros, because everyone wants to know, what the heck's a macro? Okay, fat, macro. Protein, macro. Carbs, macro. You need to be in a specific balance that's right for you for your macros. Now, this could be different for different people, but the standard ketogenic diet, typically, it's about 5% coming from carbs, 70%, 75% coming from fats, and the rest coming from protein. So it's a moderate amount of protein, a high amount of fats, and a low amount of carbs. So you're probably wondering, if I'm eating all green leafy veggies, I'm not eating any carbs, where are these carbs coming from? Well, carbohydrates actually are included in the veggies too. So vegetable sources do have carbohydrates. Now what you want to count is the net carb. So a net carb, and I'm feeling like I'm sounding like I'm like giving a, I don't know, like I'm a professor or something. I'm not, I swear to God. There's no other way to explain this to you. But a net carb is basically when you take the total carbs you're eating and you subtract the fiber from that, and you're gonna get the net carb because your body doesn't digest the fiber, so it's not gonna increase the insulin. So you're not gonna have an insulin spike. Insulin is a fat storing hormone. That is what you want to avoid. The less insulin you have in your system, the better, because that means your blood sugar is stable, all of these things. Fruits spike your blood sugar, spike your insulin. That's where you want to just kind of stay away from those. You want to stick with those green leafy veggies. The veggies that are above ground, not below ground, is a pretty good, you know, if you're trying to figure that out, that's pretty good way to think about it. You know, potatoes are underground. That is a really high starchy vegetable that is basically like eating a little packet of sugar. It's basically the same thing. So, no potatoes, no carrots, nothing that's underground. Cauliflower is good, broccoli is good, lettuce is great. You know, if you go out to a restaurant, you can substitute some of the foods they have there for something that's lower in carbohydrate. All of these are just kind of like little ways. So you start balancing your macros, you add it into an app. Eventually what's going to happen is you're going to be eating similar foods every day. You're going to get into a rhythm and you're going to know basically what your macros are without even putting it into the app, but that comes a little bit later. So you want to use the app to kind of get you started, to get you into it. You can do that whenever you want, and that will keep you in your macro balance. So that is basically how you do the ketogenic diet. So getting started, you want to make sure you have plenty of electrolytes. Now there actually is an electrolyte powder that is really good, that has potassium, a high amount of potassium in it, because your body's going to be flushing potassium, magnesium, and sodium. And so getting electrolytes is like essential. You need to make sure you're salting your food, because your body, when it flushes out all of this water, it's no longer holding on to water like it used to when you were very carb heavy in the foods that you're eating. When your body's flushing out all of this water, you're going to be losing sodium with it, so you need to make sure you're salting your foods. So I will pop a link in the description for the electrolyte formula that I think is like really good when you're just getting started on the ketogenic diet. I actually just barely started adding this in because I just found it, and I think it's great, because before it was like trying to find different electrolytes in different areas, but the potassium is the big thing, and that's the hardest thing to get into your diet when you're doing the low carb diet. And so there's lots of potassium in this. So you need to make sure you're getting your electrolytes. I personally take extra magnesium at night before bed, just a pill. It's just, you just take magnesium. I do 250 milligrams. I do it before bed because sometimes when people get going on the ketogenic diet, they can notice that they're tired during the day, and that is typically a sign that magnesium, you have an issue with your magnesium. So taking it before bed is really good. It will help you sleep through the night, because that's the other thing. Some people find their sleep gets impacted. They wake up early, but that's okay too, because guess what? You don't need as much sleep anymore, because when you're following a ketogenic diet, you're eating these real whole foods. You're losing weight, your body is starting to function the way it needs to function. All of a sudden, you're going to be thriving off of less sleep just naturally. And so if you notice like you might be waking up earlier, go with it. Just get up and start your day. You know, if you're waking up at like 3 a.m. obviously, that will eventually level out, and you'll start sleeping like a good amount. But don't worry about it, don't stress about it too much. Take that magnesium before bed. It will help you sleep a little bit longer if you do have that issue. So that's what I would recommend you guys get started with. You're getting going on the ketogenic diet, you're making sure you're taking your electrolytes, you're making sure that you're staying within the 20 net carbs or less a day, which you can use that app too, that Carb Manager app I told you about. That's for iOS. If you have Android, MyFitnessPal is great too. okay? So you're staying within your net carbs, learning how to do that for your day. Get everything out of your refrigerator that you can, or your cabinetry that is going to be a trigger food for you. So if you have like Girl Scout cookies lying around and you know you're obsessed with Girl Scout cookies, give them to the neighbor, give them to someone at work, get rid of them, get them out of the house. Like don't just like go on a binge of like all of the sugar in your house because you're starting and you don't want to waste. Don't do it, guys. Like, you can do this. Get rid of the stuff that you think is gonna be a really big temptation for you. Another recommendation I have when you're just getting into the ketogenic diet is exogenous ketones. Exogenous ketones can help to get you into ketosis quickly so that it eliminates the keto flu effects. They won't be as intense. So like you might be getting headaches with the keto flu. You might be feeling really, really tired, run down, all of these things as your body is shifting metabolisms. Exogenous ketones can definitely help you in that situation because they'll put you in a ketosis right away, and they're going to help you also lose the cravings for sugar, which can be really, really intense as you're just barely trying to get out of that and get rid of that side effect of that. So I have a 10-day experience that has exogenous ketones. You can get started on that. You can try it out, see how it works for you while you're getting into the ketogenic diet to get going on this lifestyle. Will help you ease into it. I'll put the link for that in the description as well, so you can check that out. But you can do this any way that you want, basically. You can get started on the keto diet. The main factors though are there, and the biggest thing is that you have success with making this really a lifestyle change. So now let's get into like intermittent fasting, because you're probably wondering, okay, I've heard about intermittent fasting, I've heard about the ketogenic diet, is it something I have to do? Intermittent fasting is amazing, guys, because what it does is it allows your body to go a longer period without food, so that instead of your body working so hard to digest and what to do with this, what to do with that, now it's putting the, it's basically healing your body in other areas because it's not working so hard digesting. And so you're going to, like loose skin, all of these things can be prevented or healed through intermittent fasting, and it's also a great way to help with fat loss and weight loss and all of those things. So intermittent fasting, the way you do that is basically you start eating at a specific time during the day, and then you stop eating 8 hours after you start eating. And then you go 16 hours without eating, and then you eat again in the morning. Now this is the 16 8-hour fast. This is the way that most people get started. There are different fasts, but for this beginner's little guide on the whole ketogenic intermittent fasting, the easiest way for me to explain this to you is eventually once you get going on your ketogenic journey, you're gonna find that you're just naturally not as hungry. And a lot of times we're not as hungry in the morning, so you can use that in your benefit to follow an intermittent fasting type of lifestyle. Now the way that you do this is, like, I don't recommend you start this for at least 2 weeks into your keto diet, into your keto lifestyle. But when you're ready to do it, and when you find that you're waking up, you're not as hungry, you have your first meal at noon, so you make it 12. Anything that is over 50 calories within your fasted window is going to break your fast. That's my personal opinion. Some people will say 100 calories will break your fast. Some people will say water only. Personally, if you're drinking and consuming 50 calories or less within that 16-hour window from the time that you stop eating until you start eating again, you're not gonna break your fast. And so that means if you're having coffee in the morning, you can add a tiny bit of creamer to that. Half and half is what I would recommend because it's lower in calories. So you can do that, and you can have that coffee, and you can have lots of water. If you're drinking exogenous ketones, the Prove It exogenous ketones are only like 40 calories each. Some are a little bit less. But if you have that, it's definitely gonna help you with your intermittent fasting. So I would recommend that you drink that when you wake up in the morning, as your first thing, you just have your ketones. They will give you energy. Some of them have caffeine in them, so you can get them caffeinated if you want. If you're used to having coffee in the morning, you want to swap it for this, go for it, do the caffeinated, and then that will allow you to take your fast on to noon, have your first real full meal at noon, and then you have your next meal, which ideally you want to eventually just kind of cut it down so you have only 2 meals a day, because the less you are snacking in between your meals, the better. I know we love to snack, right? Sometimes we snack because we're bored, whatever. Don't do it, don't snack. If you can, just don't do it. So I would say you have your first meal at noon. You want it to be a big meal because you don't want to be hungry, you don't want to be snacking in between your meals. And then you have your meal for dinner at about 7, if you're stopping eating at 8, and then you go the 16 hours again. And make sure you're getting plenty of the electrolytes, plenty of vitamins. I also take a multivitamin, which I would recommend you do that as well. I will put a link to everything that I'm talking about in the description here of this video, so that if you need a multivitamin, if you need electrolytes, whatever you need, it's there for you. But that's basically it. That's the intermittent fasting thing. So anyone can do intermittent fasting. You just have to follow your body and see what works for you. Don't force yourself to intermittent fast if you're hungry. If you're hungry, just eat. Eat, follow your body, learn how to follow your body. And some people really like to just push their window back slowly. So if you normally wake up and have your first meal at like 6 a.m., let's say, try the next day to do 7 a.m. and then the next day to do 8 a.m. and just kind of try to slowly shift it so that it moves. Now, the really cool thing about your body is if you get started on intermittent fasting and you're hungry, let's say you're hungry your first day, but you push past it. Like I would say the first 3 days, you'll probably be hungry. If your body's used to eating at like 7 a.m. and all of a sudden you're eating at noon, you'll probably be hungry initially. But what happens is your body produces the hunger hormones when it gets the hint, like that food's coming at noon now and not 7. So I'm not going to produce those hunger hormones, so you won't get the hunger pains, you won't get the hunger signals until about noon, when you would normally eat once you get going on that lifestyle. So I would say, I know I'm kind of contradicting myself because I just said if you're hungry, eat. But in the beginning, the first like 3 days, you'll probably be hungry as you're starting to move that. And that's okay to kind of like push past that until you get going on it. And then beyond that, once you're into the lifestyle of it, if you do feel hungry within that time, then I would say that you should probably eat something. Now, the other thing is some people intermittent fast every day. Some people do it 3 times a day. Some people only do it on the weekend. Whatever works best for you is great. So really you can do it however you want. And if you hear someone snoring behind me, that is my dog Connor. I'll see if I can turn this around so you can see him. I don't know. Can you see him? Yeah, that's Connor. He's snoring. Sorry. Sometimes he likes to sit next to me while I do my videos, pretty much every time I do my video. So if you hear someone snoring, I had someone in one of my videos, they were like, is someone like moaning behind you? I was like, oh, that's my dog, like every time. Okay, so back onto subject. Yeah, so that's it. Intermittent fasting, do it later on. Don't do it right away as you're just getting into the keto lifestyle. Get past the keto flu, because once you're past the keto flu, it'll be so much easier for you. Don't think it's gonna be like that forever, feeling tired, all those things. Make sure you have the things that you need, the tools that you need, the electrolytes, all of those things, the vitamins, everything that you need, the magnesium, so that you set yourself up for success with this, because that is the most important thing that will lead to your success. Now, thanks guys for watching this video. I hope that I helped you in some way. Be sure to, if you like this video. If you know a friend that is following the ketogenic diet or just getting started, share this video with them so that it helps them out. And thanks guys for watching this video. If you're new here, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Take care.